My phone buzzed. I barely glanced at the notification before I swiped it open, expecting something random from my sister, Danielle. Maybe a meme. Maybe one of those fake-friendly check-ins she had been doing more often lately. But the moment my eyes landed on the text, my stomach dropped. It was a screenshot of a group chat. And right at the top, her message read, "She's so dumb. She still thinks we care about her. Just wait until we get what we want." My heart slammed against my ribs. I scanned the chat, laughing emojis, agreement from people I thought were my friends. This wasn't just a mistake. This was proof. My sister had been playing me. For months, she'd been acting nice, checking in, inviting me to hangouts. I thought maybe, just maybe, she had changed. But I was just a game to her. And now I needed to find out what they wanted, before I burned it all down. I swallowed down the lump of betrayal in my throat and forced my fingers to move. Me. Haha, what's this? I wanted to see how she would react. Within seconds, the typing bubble appeared. Danielle. OMG. Ignore that. It wasn't about you. Just a joke. Sent it by accident.
Right.
Because laughing about tricking me was just so funny. I let my thumbs hover over my keyboard for a second, before responding. Me. Oh, LOL. No worries. Anyway, what were you saying about this weekend? I'd love to hang out. Smiling face with smiling eyes. She took the bait. Danielle. YSSS girl. Can't wait.
She thought I was still blind.
Good. That made this so much easier. That weekend, I met up with them at a trendy cafe, playing my part. Danielle hugged me when she saw me, like we were the closest sisters in the world. I hugged her back, letting her believe she was winning. Her friends greeted me like nothing was wrong, like they hadn't trashed me behind my back. We chatted for a while, small talk, fake laughter, until... "So, I heard you got a raise at work," Danielle said, eyes gleaming. "That's huge for you."
Oh.
So that's what they wanted. Money. I gave them a sheepish smile. Oh, yeah, just a small bump in salary. Nothing major. I saw disappointment flicker in her eyes before she masked it with fake excitement. But I wasn't done yet. Honestly, I sighed dramatically. I was actually thinking of investing in a business soon. Maybe even getting a place of my own. I watched them perk up, like vultures circling a fresh kill. Over the next few weeks, I let them think they were tightening their grip. Danielle started acting like the best sister ever. She invited me out more, called me every day, asked about my job, my plans, my finances. "You should totally invest in my friend's business," she said one night, grinning.
Right.
Because handing over my money to some scammer she knew was totally a great idea. I pretended to consider it, nodding thoughtfully. But behind the scenes, I was locking everything down. I changed my banking passwords. I removed Danielle from my emergency contacts. I even talked to a lawyer about setting up extra security on my finances. Because when I cut them off, they weren't going to get a single penny. One night, Danielle invited me to a party at her friend's house. I wasn't planning to go. But then, as she was grabbing drinks, I saw her phone light up on the table. I normally wouldn't snoop. But this wasn't normal. I glanced down. Message preview. "She's coming to the party, right? Make sure she drinks a lot. It'll be easier that way." A chill ran down my spine.
What the hell?
I was done pretending, but I needed one last act before I exposed them. At the party, I let Danielle hand me a drink. I even pretended to sip it. Then I wandered into another room, and that's when I heard it. "She has access to so much money," one of Danielle's friends whispered. "We just have to get her to sign something." That was it. That was all I needed. I walked back in, drink still in hand, and sat down next to Danielle. And then, in front of everyone, I said, "So, which one of you came up with this little scam?" Silence. Then Danielle laughed nervously. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, showed them the screenshot she accidentally sent me. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." The blood drained from her face. And then, like clockwork, her fake excuses started pouring in. But I was already gone. The moment I walked out of that party, I felt lighter. It was like a weight had been lifted from my chest, the suffocating presence of fake love, manipulation, and years of deception. But I knew walking away wasn't enough. I needed to make sure they could never touch me again. The first thing I did? I blocked every single one of them.
Danielle.
Her fake friends. The people who had laughed at me behind my back while pretending to be my friends.
Gone.
Then, I went through my emails, social media, and accounts. I changed passwords, updated security questions, removed every trace of my sister from anything she had access to. My finances?
Locked down.
My phone? Changed my number. I wasn't just cutting her off. I was erasing her access to my life entirely. By the time I was done, there was no way she could ever contact me again. And that's when the calls started coming in from our mother. I stared at my phone, watching my mom's name flash across the screen. I knew exactly what this was. Danielle had gone running to her, playing the victim, spinning a story where I was the cruel, ungrateful sister who had abandoned her family. I sighed and picked up. Before I could even say a word, my mom's sharp voice cut through the line. "What did you do to Danielle?" I clenched my jaw, keeping my voice calm. "Mom, did she tell you what she tried to do?" "She said you embarrassed her in front of her friends, humiliated her for no reason, and now she's crying her eyes out. Do you know how heartless that makes you look?" My grip tightened around my phone. Of course, Danielle didn't tell the full story. "Mom," I said slowly, "I have proof. She was using me, manipulating me. She only wanted my money, and when I didn't fall for it, she tried to trap me into signing something drunk. Do you understand how dangerous that is?" Silence. For the first time, Mom hesitated. But then, as always, she fell back on her excuses. "She's your sister, honey. Family forgives. Maybe she just—" No, my voice was firm, unshaken. "This isn't a misunderstanding. It's not a mistake. She knew exactly what she was doing." Another pause. Then, softer, more manipulative. "You know she's struggling right now. Can't you just help her a little?" My heart went cold. That was it. That was the reason my mother was really calling. She didn't care about what Danielle had done. She only cared that I was financially stable and that my sister could still use me as a safety net. Goodbye, Mom.
Click.
For the first time in my life, I chose myself. And I refused to feel guilty for it. The next day, I did something I should have done a long time ago. I called my lawyer. "Hey, I need to make sure my finances and assets are protected from any potential fraud attempts." She asked me a few questions, and when I explained the situation, she didn't even hesitate. "You need to set up legal barriers," she said. "Freeze any shared accounts, flag suspicious activity, and secure your personal assets. If she's desperate, she could try to forge signatures or manipulate people to access your money." I felt a chill go down my spine. I never thought my own sister would stoop that low. But she had already proven what she was capable of. So I didn't wait. By the end of the day, I had closed old joint accounts, set up fraud alerts on my bank accounts, informed my employer that no one, not even family, was authorized to handle my documents, filed a legal notice restricting any financial requests related to my name. It was exhausting. But when I finally lay in bed that night, I knew one thing for certain. Danielle could never touch me again. 3 days passed. Then, out of nowhere, an email popped up in my inbox. From Danielle. Subject: "I'm sorry, please call me." I just stared at it. I knew what this was. The classic manipulator playbook. Phase 1. Try to gaslight me into thinking it was all a misunderstanding. Phase 2. If that doesn't work, play the victim and beg for sympathy. Phase 3. If all else fails, turn to rage and blame me. I clicked it open, scanning her words. "I don't know what happened between us. I feel like you misunderstood everything, and I wish we could just go back to being the close sisters we were. Please, can we meet up and talk? I just want my sister back. I love you." My fingers hovered over the reply button. But then I thought back to that night. The laughing in the group chat. The way she tried to set me up. The way she saw me as nothing more than a paycheck. And I closed the email. Unread. Danielle had lost the right to be in my life. The strangest part about cutting my sister out? I expected to feel alone. But instead, I started noticing something else. The people who actually cared about me, truly, deeply cared, were still here. A close friend from work noticed I seemed off. She invited me over, just to talk. We shared a bottle of wine, and for the first time in weeks, I laughed, a real, deep laugh. Another friend sent me a message. Hey, I saw you cut ties with Danielle. I just wanted to say, I get it. If you ever need to talk, I'm here.
And it hit me.
I spent so much time trying to earn my sister's love, trying to prove I was good enough for her. And yet, the whole time, I already had people who loved me for who I was. I just needed to choose them instead. The last message I ever got from Danielle came 2 weeks later. It was short. Bitter. You think you're better than me? I stared at the screen for a long time. And then, without hesitation, I deleted it. She no longer had power over me. She never would again. The day after I deleted Danielle's final message, I woke up feeling different. Lighter.
Clearer.
For years, I had carried the weight of her expectations, her manipulations, her conditional love, and now it was finally gone. I made my coffee and sat on my balcony, watching the city come to life. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I owed anyone an explanation for my happiness. But cutting her off wasn't just about deleting a number.
It was about rebuilding my life in a way that was truly mine.
That meant setting new boundaries. That meant choosing kindness, but only for those who truly deserved it. And that meant never, ever letting someone like Danielle into my life again. It wasn't easy. A week later, I got a call from my mother again. This time, she wasn't yelling. She was crying. Danielle's struggling, she whispered. She's in a really bad place. I know she hurt you, but she's still your sister. She needs you. I gripped my phone, taking a deep breath. The old me, the one desperate for validation, for approval, might have caved. But not anymore. I kept my voice calm, firm. She needed me when she was laughing about using me. She needed me when she was trying to trap me. I gave her chances, Mom. She burned every single one. Silence.
Then,
I just don't understand why you're being so cold. That stung. Because the truth was, I wasn't being cold. I was just finally protecting myself. But to people who benefit from your lack of boundaries, self-respect always looks like cruelty. I'm not cold, I said softly. I'm just done. And for the first time, I really meant it. One afternoon, I walked into my favorite cafe, ready to write in my journal, something that had become my new routine. As I ordered my coffee, I overheard a woman in front of me struggling to pay. Her card wasn't working. She fumbled in her bag, cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Without thinking, I tapped my card on the machine. On me, I said with a small smile. She looked at me, stunned. Wait, seriously? I nodded. I've been there before. It's okay. Her eyes welled up with tears. You have no idea how much this means to me, she whispered. I just got out of a really bad situation. Today was supposed to be my fresh start, and she stopped, shaking her head. You just made my whole day. I blinked, realizing something huge. For years, I had wasted my kindness on people who didn't deserve it. But that didn't mean kindness itself was wrong. It just meant I needed to give it to the right people. People who wouldn't take it for granted. 3 months passed. Life was good. Peaceful. Then one evening, I got a call from an unknown number. I debated ignoring it, but something in my gut told me to answer. The moment I picked up, I regretted it. It was Danielle. She was sobbing. Please, I need help. I stayed silent. I have nothing left, she choked out. Mom won't give me money. My friends turned their backs on me. I don't know what to do. I closed my eyes. This was exactly what she had done to me for years. Played the victim. Pulled up my emotions. Expected me to drop everything and save her. But I wasn't that girl anymore. I'm sorry you're struggling, I said quietly. But I can't help you. She inhaled sharply. What? You're just going to let me suffer? You let me suffer. That shut her up. I didn't say anything else. I just hung up. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty about it. That night, I met up with the people who had become my real family. Friends who had stood by me. People who had never once used me, manipulated me, or made me feel like I had to earn their love. As we laughed over dinner, I realized something. Family isn't about who you share blood with. It's about the people who show up for you, not just when they need something, but when you need them, too. Danielle and I had been born into the same family. But that didn't mean I had to keep her in my life. Because sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is let go of the people who only bring you pain. And that's exactly what I did. For the first time in my life, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't waiting for the next time Danielle would use me. I wasn't worried about being tricked, manipulated, or laughed at behind my back. I was free. And freedom tasted better than any fake relationship ever could. I focused on myself. I started a new hobby, traveled, strengthened the friendships that truly mattered. And most of all, I stopped apologizing for choosing myself. Months turned into a year. Danielle faded into a distant memory, just another lesson in my past. I never checked up on her, never wondered what she was doing, because for the first time, my happiness wasn't tied to her anymore. One evening, as I sat watching the sunset, a thought crossed my mind. If I could go back, would I do anything differently? And the answer was simple.
No.
Because sometimes the people you think are meant to love you the most are actually the ones you need to walk away from. And when you finally do, that's when you find real happiness.